Yo guys, Vision SGN here, bringing you Marvel Rivals Full Winter Soldier Guide, breaking down how to play as Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, and explaining all of his abilities, including his team-up ability. And as well as this, I'll go over all of his strengths and weaknesses. This is episode 7 of my new Heroes series guide, where I have all of the previous videos on my channel. On that note, let's get right into it. So the Winter Soldier has got to be one of the best hybrid duelists in the game right now. He has great sustain and is what I call an isolation expert. Someone that just wins their one-on-ones more so than other characters. He's just perfect for this scenario and one of the best in the game in my opinion, as he counters many characters such as Thor, and he does this really well and is one of the best heroes to be using right now in Season 1, especially after the latest update. And this character is just used so much at the higher levels in competitive right now, when he's not banned of course, but overall, Bucky has a 275 base health as a duelist and has a movement speed of 6 meters per second, which is pretty standard across all of the characters. As for his abilities and his team ups, his primary ability, known as the Roster Stern, fires explosive rounds at 2.5 rounds per second, dealing 75 damage per hit, and has a 3-round ammo count, and can actually 2-hit most characters in the game, those squishier characters, when you land critical shots. The fall off for this character begins at 20 meters plus and decreases the damage output by 60% at 40 meters. So ideally you want to be playing that close to medium range at all times. Although you can sit back and deal damage, you're just going to be less effective at that range. And for all of his abilities, which I'll explain shortly, they are more effective at that closer range area, which allows him to stay alive for a stupid amount of time as a duelist. As for his L1 ability, the Trooper's Fist allows him to dash forward, seizing enemies along the way in his path, and launches them up at the end of this dash. It has a 9 meter range and deals 25 damage to enemies that are seized along that way, and then a further 65 knockback damage at the end. It has a 12-second cooldown, but more importantly, generates 50 bonus health when this ability is used. Now this is where the character is able to sustain really well when you combine all of his abilities, which I'll explain in more detail shortly. Combining this with his L2 ability, the Bionic Hook, where he charges up his Bionic Arm and launches a hook towards the first target hit, and if there's any enemies lurking behind, they'll also be hit too. It has a 0.5 second charge time, but you can hold up to 4 seconds. It has a 10 meter range with an instant cast, or if you charge it the full way past 1 second, then it has a 20 meter distance that you can catch multiple enemies with. The ability itself isn't powerful as such, but it's used for more of crowd control and to bring opponents closer to you so you can land some critical shots using your Roster Stern. Now, the ability does generate 40 bonus health every time it's used, similar to the R1 ability, the Tainted Voltage, when you charge up and launch a powerful electrical punch with using the Bionic Arm in the target direction you're facing, which deals damage to all enemies within range and also slows them. This ability can knock down flying heroes and deals 55 damage, slowing the enemy for 2 seconds, slowing them by 35% of their overall movement speed. It provides a 40 bonus health as I mentioned, but the projectiles can pierce through multiple enemies, so this ability is really good to use in like doorways and funneled areas like stairs, etc., or when all the enemies are on the objective. This is where it's going to be more useful, as you can slow loads down, crowd controlling the situation, and it has only a 6-second cooldown, meaning this ability can be used quite often. And as for his passive ability, the Careless Charge, it allows his Roster Stern to reload automatically while his Bionic Arm is in action, which grants bonus health for the Winter Soldier. So this is really crucial to understand, as you don't need to sit there and reload every time, as you really want to master and learn how to use his abilities and combine them with his primary attack, the Roster Stern, as will allow you to stay alive for a long time, deal an insane amount of damage, and also, more importantly, generate your ultimate a lot quicker. Now, the ultimate is called the Kraken Impact and is what this character is notoriously known for, and everyone fears the sound of his ultimate being used because everyone's been abused by this thing at one point or another if you play Marvel Rivals. Hearing again whilst in-game is just terrifying. It's something you need to avoid, and I'll teach you exactly what you want to be doing as a Winter Soldier to maximize the use of this, but also as a little tip how to avoid being caught by this, or how to stop a player going on a spree using his ultimate. Now, the ultimate itself allows Bucky to leap high, dashes forward, and then slams down using his Bionic Arm, which deals an insane amount of damage to enemies within the range or the radius, marking them for what is called culling. So for any enemy marked with that thick red section on their health bar, you or your teammate can damage them, and if their health falls below that certain threshold, it recharges the Bionic Arm for another use of the Kraken Impact ultimate. Now, this ultimate has a 5 meter radius and deals 100 damage per hit, but the culling threshold is 20% based on the enemy's health. So it lasts 8 seconds in duration, but if you get this mark and then kill someone within that 8 seconds, you'll be able to use the ability again. It also generates a 50 bonus health every time you use it, which is pretty crazy. But as I mentioned, you can avoid this. So little tips is use a healing ult to counter it, pretty much the most simple one to do, or hide behind your tankier teammates, or as a tank yourself, make sure you're trying to absorb the initial hit, as that makes you a team player and less likely for the Winter Soldier enemy to be able to continuously chain their ultimate. Now, you also need to make sure you rely on your healers to keep you up in this, so just bear that in mind. And also, any high DPS heroes such as Hawkeye, you need to be focusing on any Winter Soldier in your game whenever you hear the sound cue, as it's a priority that you remove this character as quick as possible, as he can quite simply change the entire way a game is played out. Now, going back to the culling mark, this shows above enemies when your ultimate is ready, so if it's in your back pocket and ready for use, it shows you exactly which enemies would die from one use of the ultimate, which then indicates who you want to be targeting in order to regenerate your ultimate over and over again, and to keep bonus health. As for his team-up ability with Rocket Raccoon, known as Infinite Grit, which is actually a crazy team-up in my opinion, and anytime you have a Rocket on your team, if you know how to use this character or you want to try and experiment with him, definitely try it when you have a Rocket. Now, Rocket throws down an ammo overload device in the target direction, and upon entering this device's range, this radius, the Punisher and the Winter Soldier receive massive buffs to both their ammo and their faster firing. They have infinite ammo during this time, and their fire rate is increased by 25%, which is crazy. And is why I have it in my top 5 of best abilities or team-up abilities in the game. I'm actually going to be making a separate set of videos for the best or top 5 best abilities, best ultimates, and best team-ups, so look out for that on my channel. But anyways, there you have it guys, that's the full guide for the Winter Soldier. He's a 3-star difficulty hero, really fun to use, and I'd highly recommend that all players try this character out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down below if you have any cool tips and tricks that you've learned along the way using this character, or if you have any cool clips that you'd like to share. I'm sure you do using that ultimate. But anyways, I'm Vision SGN, and I'll see you in the next one.